Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll discuss about inheritance. So inheritance means we are reusing the code which is present there in any other class in our class. So how is it? Let's see. So reuse or inherit the attributes and behavior across the class hierarchy. So when we talk about inheritance, it's general term which is referred in biology, means that there are some features or some attributes which the parent has and that is passed on to the child. Right? The same thing it applies here. So we have a class, right? And this class passes on all the attributes and the functions which is there in this parent class to the child class. So the same hierarchy is there, parent to child. So Java, you can say, let's say this is class C1, it will have, let's say, C2, it will have C3. So C2 and C3 takes up the properties of class C1. Now let's have C4, let's have C5. Now C4 will be having the properties of C2, also it will have the properties of C1, right? So parent and parent's parent, right? So this is would be there. Then again we would have C5, so C5 would be having properties of C4, C2 and C1. So it is same as the hereditary that we talk in biology, the same happens in inheritance in Java. But yeah, in Java we don't support inheritance from multiple classes. So let's say this is not possible that C5 can have inheritance from C2 and C3. This type of inheritance is not possible in Java, though this type of inheritance is possible in C++ and other programming language, but Java does not support this because it makes the code very complex, right? Instead of it, Java uses another mechanism which is known as interfaces, which we will be discussing in the later course, in the not in the introductory one, but in a different playlist. But for now, you just understand that a class will only be able to inherit from one of the classes. Multiple inheritance is not possible in Java. So top level classes contain generic code reused by the descendants. So you see this is the same example of biology. So we have amoeba, and from amoeba we have different microbes, right? So we say that, right, the theory of evolution says that from this there will be a lot of creatures would be from something like that. So this is how. So we have starting of the life as from amoeba, and then it after so many evolutions it has inherited some of the properties, attributes, other thing from the amoeba, which have been the starting journey, and other things have formed from it. So let's take a very good example. We have animal, and animal have certain attributes, right? It has name and weight, and it has certain behavior. That is, like animal eats and it breathes. So what are attributes? Attributes are actually your data, or you can say it's a variable, right? So it's variable. So attributes are nothing but your variables. And what are behaviors? Behavior actually refers to your methods. Okay, so attributes, variables, behavior, methods. So we have name attribute, we have weight attribute. So yeah, let's get back again to the data type. What can be the data type of name? String. What will be the data type of weight? The weight data type would be, it can be double because we have floating point numbers, right? We can have decimal numbers, so it can be double. What about behavior? What will be the return type of eat? What will be the return type of breathe? So it depends upon the function. Like let's say eat. So it might return us, it eats, this animal eats, let's say veggies or something. So it will be returning a string. Similarly, breathe. It breathes through lungs, gills, and so on. So it will return a string. So the return type of these functions would be string. We have discussed all this in the previous videos, Java syntax, right? So you see, we have a dog, we have a fish. Now, if you see carefully, so this fish, if you talk about this fish and this dog, both belong to the a different class, right? They would be a fish class and they would be a dog class, right? But these two classes would actually be what? Inherited, or it will be a subclass of animal class. So we would have an animal class. An animal class can have two subclass, let's say fish, another is dog. And you can see this name, this weight, this eat and this breathe would be taken up by fish and dog, right? Because any animal has attribute name weight and it has behavior eat and breathe. Therefore, all the subclasses will also inherit the attributes and the behavior of the superclass. Okay, so it says reuse or inherit attributes and behaviors across the class hierarchy. Means that the superclass, whatever attributes and behavior it has, the subclass would be reusing or inheriting the attributes and the behaviors. Okay, so now there is another concept which is related to inheritance, which is known as polymorphism. So since we are talking about inheritance, we can even talk about polymorphism. So inheritance means that we are reusing the attributes and the behavior, right? But polymorphism means that let's suppose we make an object of class dog, right? So let's say we have dog D, and let's say we have a fish which is F. Now if we call F dot breathe, let's say F and breathe, so it should return gills. If we call D dot breathe or dog breathe, so it will return lungs. Means that based on the class we have, or based on the fish or the dog, it is going to return its corresponding organs. If it is fish, it is going to return gills. If it's dog, it is going to return lungs. So how is it able to identify, okay, which dog is being called, which object is being called? It is dog or it is fish. So this identification happens in due to the principle of polymorphism. Polymorphism means we have certain thing and we are using different forms of it. Means breathe function is there for both fish and dog because it has been inherited by class animal. But breathe would be returning two different things based on dog and fish. So it is like polymorphism means using same function for multiple purposes, right? So breathe function or eat function would be used by different subclass based on their own attributes and behaviors. Are you getting it? Again, polymorphism means using a particular function for more than one purpose. So if you see breathe is used by dog and fish based on their own behaviors, right? So dog has lung, fish has gills. Therefore, here we have polymorphism. So there is only one function, only one method, whose name is breathe, but it is using for multiple purpose. Similarly, eat would be used for multiple purpose. So let me just erase off. Yeah. So we could say that during the time of execution, this breathe function would be different for both fish and dog. So during the time of runtime or during time of execution, dog breathe would return lungs, and here it will return gills, right? So these are two different things, but the name of the function is same. Therefore, what we are doing is we are using breathe for more than one purpose. Hence, it is a runtime polymorphism. There are two different type of polymorphism. So here we have discussed about the runtime polymorphism. There's another type of polymorphism, but that's again very detailed about polymorphism. We'll have an overview about these two things, that is inheritance and polymorphism. So inheritance means we are reusing the attributes and behavior across the classes, across the class hierarchy. And polymorphism means there is one function, but based on the object, based on the class that from which the object belongs to, that particular function would be returning a different values, right? So if we again, let's say we have another class which is a subclass of horse, it will be having something else. So you see we have, let's say, animal, and then we had what? Fish, we had dog. So this fish and dog would be known as subclass, and this will be known as superclass. Okay, so animal will be the superclass, fish and dog would be the subclass. So you can understand how this would have worked. So let's say we have account, right? A bank account. And let's say every customer who is coming has a own dedicated class. That's not possible. We don't generally do this. Let's say, or something else. Let's say there's a big factory and that factory produces lot of items. So every item would be there in a particular class. But yeah, what is there in factory would be inherited to all the items which is being produced by the factory. So this was the concept of inheritance and polymorphism. Hope it was clear to you and you enjoyed learning these two new concepts. Stay tuned, and if you have any doubt you can mention that in the comment section below. Thank you for watching.